Hello Dragon Ballers, it's Dokkan Tero, and today we're going to build a Goku's Lineage team. So, I'm going to go ahead and throw up what I've got for the best way to run this team. Of course, everyone's going to have different stuff, but I've calculated all these units as if they're all Rainbow Star, just to see them at their peak. That's the way I prefer to do things. You might have different results with different units depending on what kind of investment they have. So, we're going to talk about this team real fast. We're going to talk about a non-LR version of the team that you can make, including if you didn't pull the Goku. There are still teams you can build under Goku's Lineage. And we're also going to talk about some subunits. Now, the first thing you see here is the first rotation, the best rotation, and then the second best rotation is followed. And then the three units on the bottom are your floaters. That's the way it's going to work. And then in the very bottom, I'm going to go over some other units that you can sub in. So, you might notice some differences if you watched my video from a couple of days ago. Usually when I put those videos out, it's a real quick kind of throw things out there, and a lot of times I overlook something or miss something, and you guys point things out in the comment section. Gogeta was something that I highly overlooked. Just because Goku also gives that AGL boost, Gogeta is a monster on this team as well. But Goku and LR Gohan work out really nicely together. Goku does not need a lot of ki to super attack. And of course, LR Gohan is also very sufficient in ki, so he helps himself out quite a bit. And then, of course, Goku and Goku, that's a very obvious choice. They've got the Saiyan Roar link. That really helps out quite a bit. That's going to be doing a lot of damage. The way I recommend using the active skill is waiting towards the end of the battle to use your extra attack. And make sure that you're not using it on a stage where you can take the boss out anyway, because it actually completely gets rid of that rotation, and it kind of defeats the purpose. Unless you're low on health, in which case that could be a good strategy to use. But generally speaking, you're going to want to use that later in the battle, just to get a little more extra damage. But it kind of depends. Now, for your floaters, you've got your Gogeta, you've got your Super Saiyan 3 Giant Ape Goku. He's really nice because he supplies Saiyan Roar to the Goku that's lined up with LR Gohan. That is your hardest hitting rotation, but Goku does lack the Saiyan Roar, so this Goku comes in and helps out quite a bit. You're going to want to keep LR Goku in the middle most of the time. Just in general, just to give him a little bit of extra ki. And then LR Bardock, I actually calculated him completely incorrectly. I'm not sure what I did wrong there, but he's going to be really useful even if you're on Super Battle Road. He becomes really tanky on Super Battle Road. He doesn't do quite as much damage, but when you have a bunch of enemies, he will be tanking really nicely, and then by the time you whittle them down to 2 or 1, he'll start hitting really hard and give himself extra ki and all that kind of stuff. So he works out really nicely in the end. Does suffer with ki links a little bit, and just in general with links, but he actually does do very well for himself, and will pretty much, in most situations, he'll get to his 18 ki pretty easily. So let's talk about what you can do if you don't have any LRs. So as you'll notice, the LR Goku that I'm showing here is the friend LR Goku. You pick up a friend LR Goku. You're actually going to use this Super Saiyan 2 Goku at the bottom as your leader, because he also boosts AGL types and Goku's Lineage types. So you can still run the same exact kind of team. You can still run your Gogeta and all of that good stuff. So since you yourself do not have an LR or a Super Saiyan 4 Goku, you can run the strength one now. He works very well on rotation with Gogeta. Gogeta becomes your next hardest hitter after these units, and the same rotation applies. You want to put the Super Saiyan 4 Gokus together, the ones that do link up, because, Super Full Power Saiyan 4 Goku does not have the same name as Super Saiyan 4 Goku. So you've got these Gokus on a rotation, then you've got the Strength Super Saiyan 4 with Gogeta. That works out really nicely. And then you've got your Kaioken Goku. He continues to hit harder and harder and harder as the battle goes on. He might not be necessarily the best option for you depending on how quick the battle is. If it's a quick battle, it's probably best to throw somebody else on there. But if it's a longer battle, like a lot of Dokkan Fest are, this guy can really start to do massive amounts of damage. And he's also got shocking speed in addition to prepare for battle, so he'll be linking up really nicely with Gogeta and the other Super Saiyan 4s, not the LR. Of course, the Super Saiyan 3 Goku still works out really nicely. He'll help out the STR Goku. He's not as useful on this build as he is on the other, but he still does see the usage, because adding that 50% to the STR Super Saiyan 4 Goku is really nice to have. And then you've got your leader. He's basically just there to provide more orbs for the LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku. He can also hit pretty hard if he collects enough orbs himself, but you know, he's mostly just there for the leader skill, so he's just kind of hanging out there. He does have prepare for battle, so that's going to help out there, but besides that, that's pretty much all he's doing. Now, let's talk about some hard hitters that you can throw on in place of any of these guys, really. So we've got the GT Goku. He's going to be your next best option, mostly because of his key links. He also hits tremendously hard on his own. He does really nicely for himself. You can pretty much throw him on any rotation or have him floating. He would be the best option for shorter fights instead of this Kaioken Goku if you don't have him. He's the one I would throw on there instead. And then you've got the Ultra Instinct Goku, who is the next hardest hitter if he transforms, which he probably won't, because it is very difficult to get below 50% HP when your whole team is tanking ridiculously. But he'll still do a pretty nice amount of damage. If he does transform, he'll end up, you know, being really good, but even if he doesn't, he still does really well for himself and is nice and tanky. Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta could be really nice because Goku also powers up AGL types. He can link up with LR Goku, he can link up with Super Full Power Saiyan 4 Goku, he can link up with any of the Gokus, and he gives them Saiyan Roar, and that ends up being really helpful. Quite helpful indeed. And then next, LR Goku's on here because he does a lot of damage on his own, even if he doesn't get to his 18 key, which for the most part, he probably won't. He just doesn't have the key links or the support really for it. But he could be thrown on there someplace. He does have prepare for battle, so he'll at least get to his 12 key. And then the transforming Goku can be a little bit tricky. We'll talk about the problem with him in Over in a Flash and why that's not so much of an issue in other team builds later on down the road. But he starts off with Prepare for Battle, and then he skips to having Over in a Flash, and then he skips to having Over in a Flash and Shocking Speed. So it really just kind of depends on what you have going on. If you've got a Prepare for Battle rotation but no Shocking Speed on that, he could struggle. It really just kind of depends. And then Ultimate Gohan and Future Gohan have Ultimate Gohan has Shocking Speed, so he doesn't quite do as well as Future Gohan. He does hit harder, but a lot of times Shocking Speed isn't quite an option on whatever team that you're building. It just kind of depends on what you have. If you do have lots of Shocking Speed, Ultimate Gohan is the better choice, but in general, just to throw on, Future Gohan is probably going to see a little bit more use just because Prepare for Battle is much more prominent. Not by a lot, really, but there are many units on here that have Prepare for Battle, and not as many that have Shocking Speed, and those that do have Shocking Speed also have Prepare for Battle. Now, a lot of people are going to ask about LR Super Saiyan 3 Goku, so I've made an entire category for him. So you can take one LR Goku off rotation and put Super Saiyan 3 Goku on there, but you're gonna need a good buddy for him. The best buddy you can have is this Tech Goku, who actually can be run as a Goku's Lineage leader if you don't have the LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku. In fact, if you don't have the LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku and you have this guy, then this could be a good excuse to run the Super Saiyan 3 Goku. You put these two guys on a rotation together, and then you can put your friend LR Goku with, you know, whoever you have that links up well with him. And if you don't have the Tech Kaioken Goku, the Super Kaioken Goku also works out really well. Both of these guys have Over in a Flash and Shattering the Limit, so they will help out. They will give 5 key to LR Goku. You're gonna want to have a lot of extra support for this unit just in general. Bardock is probably the best one to have floating around because he's got Prepare for Battle and Over in a Flash. You also have Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken Goku also has Prepare for Battle and Over in a Flash. There's a couple other units that do, but for the most part, this is going to be a little bit difficult to maintain. You're going to have your Super Saiyan 3 Goku in the middle, trying to get as much ki as possible, but it is doable. It's just, in my opinion, if you have 2 LR Gokus, you better run those 2 in main rotations. That's going to be a lot better for you in the long run. Now, you can also do the Easy A Goku and the Angel Goku. Those guys work out really well together. They work out just fine. And as far as other, over and a flash units that you can throw on there to support either of these, any 3 of these Super Saiyan 3 Gokus that you want to run on there in a main rotation, you've also got the Xeno Goku, who only has over and a flash as far as the Super Saiyan 3 Gokus are concerned, but he does help out, at least in that way, giving over and a flash. That's 3 ki, it's something, so that's why he's on there. He hits pretty hard. Not as hard as everybody else. And one of the main things holding Bardock back, by the way, is that because his team is so tanky, you're going to have a hard time getting below 70% HP, so he's not going to be giving that 40% boost to super types. So if you do end up getting him low enough, or if you do end up getting your HP low enough, yeah, this Bardock could end up seeing a lot more use, but for the most part, you probably won't have that issue of running out of HP. But if you do, Super Saiyan 3 Bardock will start to boost your entire team, which can be very, very nice. Speaking of support units, we've also got quite a few options. So, the Super Saiyan 2 Gohan and LR Goku from my original team build for this build, those guys still work really well. Pretty much what it comes down to is, for any of these support units, you want to throw in a support unit if and only if you have a really solid core. By that I mean your 2 main rotations, and then in your floating section, you've got a unit or 2 that are hard hitters that don't hit nearly as hard as your units on your core do. Then support units become really useful. But if they're all doing around the same amount of damage, give or take 1 million or so, something like that, you're probably gonna be better off just running those guys. But support units can be good in place of hard hitters that don't hit hard enough. I hope that makes sense. So Gohan's probably the best just because he gives the most boost. That 35% is really nice. LR Goku gives ki and attack and defense, similar to the World Tournament Gohan, the Bardock, the Goku. Bardock also seals super attack, that's why he's above Goku, even though Goku doesn't have the ki or the HP restriction. I don't think that HP restriction is going to be an issue for the most part. That's why Bardock's higher up there. But yeah, ki support isn't super necessary, but it can't hurt, especially when you're running a lot of LRs. So that's something to consider. We've also got the Tech Goku. He hits pretty hard himself, but he also supplies rainbow orbs to your LR Gokus. So that can be really, really useful depending on what you're running. For the most part, once again, Goku does not struggle with super attack, but if you find that you are struggling, you can run him. There's also the family Kamehameha Goten. He does a similar thing, he just doesn't hit as hard. And then finally, we've got the Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. He boosts tech types, AGL types, and physical types. So if you have something like that going on, if you've got only AGL, physical, or tech types in your main rotation, or just in general if you want to give the LR Goku specifically an extra boost, this guy can be really useful if you're not running LR Gohan. You cannot run him with LR Gohan. They have the same name. So, once again, if you want to run your LR Super Saiyan 3 Goku, you're going to have massive amounts of support for him. I do not recommend running him unless you do not have the LR Goku, in which case you can run this guy on the opposite rotation of your friend's LR Goku. And then as far as the support units go, only if you do not have enough solid hard hitters to fill up your team. And all of that applies to everything except the Super Saiyan 3 GT Goku, because he is unique in the way that he gives that 33% boost, but also has that Saiyan Roar link with the Super Saiyan 4 Goku. Anyway, so that's the way I'm looking at things. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. I know a lot of people are huge fans of LR Super Saiyan 3 Goku and get mad when I point out that he needs to get to 18 ki, and that's not always guaranteed. I know a lot of people come from the subreddit where everything is peaches and cream, but I try to look at things from a more realistic standpoint. You're not always going to get perfect ki situations. Sometimes the board's going to screw you over. Bardock is great and all, you know, in a vacuum, but if you don't understand why he's rated so highly, please look into that before yelling at me, because you gotta be below 70% HP for his passive skill to activate. So, you know, just keep those things in mind. You know, I'm doing a lot of math over here, you guys. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe. I'm always into that kind of stuff. It makes my heart feel super happy. I love each and every one of you tiny little goofballs, and I'll catch you on the next one.